Call to order. Okay. Approval of minutes.
Minutes should be on the screen for anyone who needs, and then we just need a motion.
Do I say the motion?
You can if you want. You can.
A motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in those, right? Take a vote on that, all in favor.
Oh, all in favor?
There we go.
Aye.
Okay. We don't have any visitors, correct?
I don't see any yet.
We were supposed to.
If they do pop in, Chris, the hall, Stephanie pops in, we'll come back to her. How's that sound? Okay.
Good. Old business. Holiday tree light event.
Which was what we were hoping to have Stephanie talk to us about, just tell us what she was gonna be doing, otherwise we're set.
Yeah, basically, we're set on the holiday. Stephanie was gonna come talk to us about caroling. I think we talked about 4 o'clock to 5 or something like that. We had the lights at 5, so. I think we're all set on that. John Barr, you're up next with Rooftop Lighting.
Let's see, the lighting has been working for the last 2 to 3 weeks since it hasn't been raining. I've got a quote on doing the south side of the street. I think our conversation was going to be, do we want to be paying, what do we want to do as a group for all the buildings as they get into their first redo on these lights? And it, the guy electrical bid that I got on this one, I don't know that he had any confidence that it would last any more than 3 to 5 years, was his guess also. So it seems like every 3 to 5 years, what do we want to contribute? Or do we just want to put this back on the building owner on the second time around?
I think it's gonna be tough to put it on the building owners. I don't, for the whole bill. Except you.
I agree that that's gonna be tough. I mean, it would just end up being, if we want, as a district, if we like the vibe of the street being lit, then what do we want to contribute and how do we want to handle that moving forward? Of course, first time we paid for it 100%. We talked about doing it 50%, and then later on we decided to do it 100%. How do we move forward?
I mean, I think it's a big benefit. And what would the cash cost be annualized over a year if every 3 years we had to replace them?
Well, if you just look at,
Roughly.
if you look just at John's there, I mean, it's, annualized cost about $600. So he's essentially 1,800 is what McLaughlin is quoted to do his south side of the bill, the south side of Big Bend there. So we start to extrapolate that on buildings, and then, I'll just add in, just to give you a sense, like we have had complete unresponsiveness from Strive. Like I called for Holland 6 times, no answer and anything, just to get the lights hung back, for her event this past weekend. So, I mean, we're at a place where I think we move on to a different vendor, which is fine. We can do that. We can go out to bids if you want further bids, or we can just start doing it in this level. We can start with McLaughlin and, really decide how much the district's going in. So you have fundamentally, I think you can afford as the district easily one more complete pay round, right? I mean, you could go through the whole district, relight it, and you could afford it. It's going to draw down your reserve sum if you do that, but you don't really have a plan to use those reserves in any big way. You've got, I think it's about 70,000 in reserves. So
I think it's well spent. I don't know if anybody disagrees. But, so
I guess I second that. I'm in agreement. That's why I brought it here.
I'm all good if we can get lights that work and keep them with the district paying it. Every once in a while, my landlord might take a couple of dollars, but for this next year, I'm all for the district covering it, mostly if we can find somebody who's actually gonna do it for us.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. But so let's just go ahead with that. I don't think, we don't have to make a formal motion on that, do we?
No, I mean, if you're fine with this, the program's already in place. So I mean, if you're fine with the concept of we're just gonna switch vendors, we can do that as staff. We don't need a motion, so.
I do want to say, I, with you, Eric, dealing with Stripe has been a nightmare, and I think that a lot of the market is. I do want to make sure that everybody knows McLaughlin is a friend of mine. He does all of my electric on all of my buildings, so he's been the one who I've had up there, maintaining these, fixing these. He actually used to work for Stripe, and so he's up there kind of cussing Stripe under his breath sometimes too, saying, oh my gosh, they whatever. So that's typical in the trades world where they're all, oh, I never would have done it this way and that kind of thing. But I just wanted to make sure that was known because we're spending city money. But he's also the guy who did the dumpster lights for the south side of the street. And sometimes when Mara's had delays or we've had delays, I'm like, well, I got a guy who's here almost every single day. And so it's just a matter of convenience. And when we priced it out against what we paid in the past, it was around the same price. And that was, and we've had a lot of inflation since then also. So I just wanted to make sure that was transparent. And he would be available to everybody else, I think, although he's pretty busy like everybody.
So John, just for everyone who's watching at home, just for the whole conflict of interest, obviously, as an advisory commission, this is fine, just so everyone knows we get the bid. This level is underneath needing the 3 bid requirement, where we're at here for this project that we're talking about specifically. And obviously McLaughlin has no interest with namely me or the city manager who, has to sign the order and such like that. So we're just for the public, there's no conflict of interest evident in this purchase. So.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, we might as well have a guy that fixes them anyway doing it. So.
Yeah.
He's,
All right, good.
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that to Murdoch at Big Bend intersection.
So Murdoch Big Bend intersection, we have some calls into the county to get their latest traffic studies and reports, and also a request to Councilwoman Clancy. Hoping Angel can be with us next meeting to pop into our meeting and spend 10 minutes talking about county plans on Big Bend Murdoch, Big Bend Old Orchard down in front of Bob, your place, and then I know this is just outside the district, but it certainly affects Murdoch Laclede across the bridge and the whole traffic flow in and through there and some of the county's thoughts and also pedestrian concerns that we've noted. So that's our hope at the November meeting to have. If the councilwoman's not available, hopefully someone from county transportation with us.
Okay, and that so there are some things in the work.
They have been doing some study and work along that corridor on what to do. Obviously it's a constricted corridor with a lot of traffic. So what do we put in there? I mean, I think to give you a sense, John you may have all been involved in this. I know when Nearings redid their world, they county wanted a roundabout. So I mean, there's some ideas at county that aren't necessarily, just talking about the pedestrian fixes. So, it's good to hear those though. I mean, that's sort of just like we're doing in the Crossroads streetscape work down that end of Big Bend. What's the county got up its sleeve? What are they thinking so that we can figure out how best to get some pedestrian slowing in there? So does that work for everyone?
I do want to mention, and I've been just copied in on this one. I believe there's another change coming just for everybody's that someone might want to get some confirmation on exactly. I have the emails and I was copied on it. It's between Ian, my son, who's the owner or part owner of Field Theory, and some of the parking and traffic issues that they deal with on the north side of the street there. He had reached out he goes to city council or the county meetings and had reached out to Lisa Clancy, who I believe maybe is our alderman for our.
She's who I was talking about, having the county council member join us. So.
Got it. And so that they're looking at getting rid of the parking or the pass through on the north side and south side of the street up to Murdoch there, getting rid of the lane. And so with that lane that's parking for 2 hours in the morning, or I don't know how they do it. You can park on it for all the day. It's passed through in the morning and the evening, and they're getting rid of that basically, I think. Do you know anything about that?
So that's exactly what, we have heard those rumblings that this may happen, and it's a lot of may and could be and such like that, or, what their level of, so this is why we asked for Lisa if she'd be willing to come talk about what those plans were, or someone from county transportation. Because Murdoch and Big Bend, those pedestrian issues are tied with the traffic flows down Murdoch or Big Bend and Old Orchard that I've seen Ian's emails about, the whole parking area through there, further down on Big Bend. And then of course, when you go across Murdoch, the pedestrian issues for the city are relevant and evident as well on Laclede. So they're all interconnected, and they was trying to get the county here to tell us what they have up their sleeve so we can know how to react, or, and such. That's really was our goal in asking them to join the next meeting.
So John, Ian, are they like that proposal is like it'd be always parking and just a one lane driving?
Right, because sometimes it's a raceway, especially in the afternoons when Narix and the university get out, as you probably have seen, Bob. Now it does get traffic gets stopped up quite a bit too, but people, because it's at an angle coming out at McDonald's there, where Old Orchard hits Big Bend, it's at an angle, so they can hit that at about 30, 40 miles an hour, and they can be up to 50 miles an hour by the time they get in front of Civil Alchemy. And so by the time they get down in front of Frisco and Balkan, where the two main parking lots are right behind, and people are trying to cross, they've put that crosswalk in, which is semi-helpful. I mean, you have to kind of get your body out into that crosswalk before people see you. And it's kind of a game of chicken sometimes. Use that, but I just get out there and I start like waving my arms and waiting to see if they're going to stop. And so I think the idea is to get people to slow down through that entire stretch and all the way up to Murdoch. And then, I don't know, maybe that'll encourage some, I don't know what that'll do, but I think in the wording, and I can't see the wording from my email, it's right here. I think she said because it's becoming a pedestrian experience zone, or she had some word for it that I don't really have off the top of my head. But
so that's exactly what we're talking about. There is we know this, there's a general desire, this goes all the way down to the Crossroads neighborhood, that Big Bend essentially get down to one lane roads, right? That you eliminate the blow-bys and the speed zones where people can, come by on a passing lane and such. So, again, but what does that mean in particular? There could be concerns with that as well. I mean, how does that back up traffic in any way and such in other ways? So it's just, that's what we want to hear about, and for you all to hear about, right? In terms of through your district. So, and they're not well articulated to us. I mean, we sort of pick pieces, from various emails and conversations as well. So.
all right, that's all I know. I look forward to seeing her or hearing what she has to say.
Next year. Next
Yeah.
month, yeah. Okay, move on to trick or treating for Webster Roads.
Trick or treating is what? Who we got?
Yes. Fran, we're having my son take a look to see if he can do the flyer. He got it yesterday. He thinks he can. So Fran, if you just want to send the list of businesses, if you have the addresses right there, that's one less thing he'll have to look up. If you could just keep it all the same businesses as last year, so he doesn't have to edit, that'd be great.
Well, that's up to the businesses.
I know.
So far,
What's the
Last year
deadline?
we had 20, and this year we only have 16, but the deadline is Friday.
The deadline is Friday. Okay. And then when he's done with it, does he send it back to you for printing?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll get it, we can be this place here to distribute out again if we need to, or you tell me what happens after printing.
Yeah, and we're also, normally we do counter cards, those are already being done.
Okay, because you
And I'll
don't
be
need,
giving those out as well.
okay.
So yeah, I just gave you the list, just kind of, because we have some new people that weren't here last year but I haven't heard from them yet, so. And then I've got some people that have responded that have never done it before.
Not to put you on the spot, Steve, but are you gonna be on that list?
I was looking at it. I don't know, because we typically close up at 1 or 2 on a Saturday.
That
So, I
wouldn't-
mean, if we-
that wouldn't make sense.
So that's why I didn't know if I should do it or not. I was thinking about just putting the sign up and say come in like 9 to like earlier during the day. Is that the same day that kids are gonna be trick or treating in
No.
Webster?
No,
No,
Saturday afternoon.
right,
But that's fine. I was just curious because it's on you're on the second. list.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's kind of hard.
Yeah, that
after
sounds like
that
it's unfit timeline.
In that area, like it's dead after 1 o'clock. You know, once that breakfast place closes down, I mean, it's just kind of,
Nobody
no,
comes
none of
over
that
there.
sure.
So.
yeah, no.
Okay. All right, and I guess we're pretty well set for that. New business.
New business, so we've got just a meeting scheduled for next year. It's on the screen here. We just want to publish our 2023 dates. So the second Tuesdays, I listed all of them. You don't have any conflicts. I think all 3 of the other commissions and boards have taken December off. So wanted to ask if you want that or not, or you just publish all 12 and we make monthly decisions of whether or not we're gonna cancel or not. So I'm looking around at everyone. Is the schedule good? Do you want to take anything off?
It seems like we typically did like August or something, which because of
Ju-
vacation.
usually do at least July or August. And if you don't, you end up having to because you can't get a quorum because people are on vacation.
Yeah.
We can decide that as we go, right?
You can decide as you go, yes. So I just more a matter for us booking the rooms, making, sort of. Obviously, you're not competing with space like night meetings, but
Right. Well, I guess if everybody agrees that we can just say, hey, is we looking good for August or not? And then decide then, or July or whatever month it is. The previous meeting.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty good with that? Or anybody object?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Sounds good.
so
What about December?
December, you wanted to keep on or,
I think we just do it the same way, yeah.
okay, all right,
That way, if we lose one just because we don't have a quorum, we can pick another one
Okay.
maybe or something.
Okay,
sounds good.
BDC, BDC update.
BDC update, just obviously, I think you all should have gotten the email. If you didn't, then something's wrong and please tell me, but work in Webster Groves has been launched. Thank you to some of our folks here on the call who have used it. The BDC has launched this as a free job board tool for all businesses in Webster Groves, nonprofits, entities, anything, or any kind of full-time, part-time, internship, volunteer opportunity. It is free to you all as businesses and entities. If you come to workinwebstergroves.com, you can click on post a job and fill out the form that you see on the screen. It's very simple. And with your job posting, and then what happens is we get that and we create this job board here. So I think you've all heard about this, but it's absolutely free. We keep things up, and I'm just scrolling down because I know our good friend right there, the Frisco Bar Room, has a posting up there right now. So this was sent in, and so that's an example. We want, again, absolutely free. We want you to use it. There's a postcard you'll all be getting in the mail just as businesses. So we're working on scaling up both business use, but then also outreach to residents and outside of the city as well with some digital advertising on here's a posting. The whole point is that each of you individually probably can't afford the kind of marketing reach that collectively we can afford. And the city has set aside $100,000 in ARP funds for business development to make a plan, some of which I believe the commission will recommend that we put in towards advertising this product out to the larger world to help drive recruitment of staff. So
Great.
So if you have positions, please post it up, and that so that is available, workinwebstergroves.com. And business bingo happened. I know many of you were involved in that and had cards dropped off, and I just have to tell you that I was pleasantly surprised going to the after party, watching cards come in, the amount of people that did travel around the city, to places including up to Maypop, not just Old Webster and Old Orchard, but getting around. I think we had 30 cards come back in, and I know there was more than 100 that went out. So, but the biggest thing I heard was I got there half hour before we started the party, so the last part of the day. From 3 to 4 families that said, I went to places I'd never been in, some of which were in Old Orchard, just so everyone knows, Ian's place, John, Field Theory, that got a couple shout outs. People were like, I never been in that place. So I was like, okay, sounds good. So, that's exactly what they intended to do. So.
Okay, where were we? See,
City update, I'll turn to the councilwoman just quickly here in a second, but there were no business license updates to report from this past month for you all. We have lots going on at the city. I don't want to steal the councilwoman's thunder, so I guess I'll pitch it over to her right now.
Well, a big focus right now is strategic planning. We have a big strategic planning session on Saturday morning. And so we're looking at kind of future goals for the next few years and mission and vision and revisiting some of that language that we've had out there in the past and deciding kind of how we might want to move things forward. So it's kind of our big project at the moment. But yeah, I don't know, Eric, if you want to give updates on other stuff, feel free.
So I was going to add the Charter Review Advisory Board. It's a very big project for the city. The citizens have compelled us to have the board meet. The charter will start on Thursday night. That's our first meeting here at City Hall. And that is going to be probably a year-long project of that board making recommendations on changes to the city charter to go to city council. And then the likely schedule is the April 2024 election is when election actions on those charter amendments would happen. If you are interested, Tammy Boehm up from Maypop applied, and there is no requirement for a business representative, but she was concerned that business be on it. And so the council, I think, recognized that and appointed her. So if you do have any issues or certain concerns from a business perspective, she's sort of a go-to in that regard. Undesignated business representative. The other issue we have coming up, sustainability. We sent this out to all the groups, but the Sustainability Commission, much like your board, put together a strategic sustainability plan called Forever Webster Groves, which will be in front of the council on Tuesday night, the 18th. Not for official action, but really for conversation about the scope and the breadth and sort of the adoption. Should the council adopt that plan, what does it mean, right? And how do we prioritize work? And I just want to be clear, that's not just, hey, City Hall, be more sustainable with electric vehicles or different energy production or better windows. It's look at our policies, like when we build, do we start building in more green requirements, sustainable practices into our entire community's built environment, how we operate in other ways. So it's a wide-reaching type of plan and conversation for the city. So I just encourage you all, if you're interested in that kind of conversation, Tuesday night at the council, you can be on Zoom. You don't have to be here, but they will be presenting. And I think we've sent that plan out to the group before. So
right.
should all have.
Okay. That it for the city?
Anything, Officer Razul, sorry.
Say last name. No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Everyone's parking okay? We've given.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, thank you to Officer Razul. We are back to, as of yesterday, the police staff is fully staffed up in certain areas. So I know Officer Razul will be back on the traffic beat more often and off of patrol.
All right, set next meeting for November 8th. All in favor? Is that how we do that?
No, we don't even need to.
No,
They're just
okay.
just the
Then, motion for adjournment.
Emotion.
solid.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? We just need a second. We got it.
Second.
All right. You're good.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Fran, can we